Hey, yo, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Concrete Reality TV, where we strive to know more and do more with what we know. If you would like to know more and do more with what we know on Concrete Reality TV, be sure to like and subscribe. Hit that button on the bottom. This is a Houston Hometown Heroes edition where we decided to discuss the late William Lawson. He passed away this weekend. We wanted to reach out and just kind of remember him. He was a major influence in the city of Houston, and he was also a pastor of mine. And when my brother comes on, Cutter, he'll we'll just go into detail about his impact on us, and then we also added the link on the Facebook page for anyone that wants to come on. You can click on the link, and then you can either come on either by video or by phone. Just give your fondest memories of Reverend Lawson. That's our goal. He was a major impact in the city of Houston, and we just wanted to just kind of remember him, talk about his the moments that we've had with him individually, and what you remember him most fondly for. So let's drop it.
We interrupt this program to bring
And you say third coast. Yeah. It's such a delight to be here tonight, utilizing the gift of song that I've been blessed with to bring to y'all so much joy. And you know, like I know, don't nothing bring more joy than a clean cut New Orleans boy, huh? They say I wouldn't do it again.
Yeah, so as I said before, be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons on the bottom of the screen. This is Houston Hometown Heroes edition, a special feature that we wanted to go live for the passing of the late and great Reverend William Lawson. He was a major impact, as I said, in the city of Houston and also throughout the country. And his passing, he touched a lot of people. And I remember with Reverend Lawson, we first started going to Willer Avenue when I think I was like 9 or 10, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure, but we went there. That was back when they were in the Green Chapel. We were all in the small little Green Chapel at that time. And then my memory about Reverend Lawson, he was always just like quiet spoken, but the things that he said always had so much meaning. Even as a child, it seemed like he'd catch your attention, and he wasn't a hooping and hollering preacher minister like that. He was always laid back. So I don't know. I think he was versatile with his services, though. He was, even though he was quiet and it's kind of out, he wasn't very outspoken. The church, he made sure that he kind of put in the elements for the church to be versatile. So he had different styles of music. It wasn't just a hardcore gospel. I remember that he kind of made it real versatile. He would have um, spirituals as well as classical, and then he also included the hardcore gospel as well. But I think he kind of represented his congregation too. It was versatile. He could reach out to anybody. So it seems like with him, that's what I remember the most, with his style of communication and in ministry as well. I was going to kind of touch on his upbringing. I didn't really know his upbringing, and I wanted to sit down with him and at least interview him, like we've done with a few other guests in Houston that were very impactful to us. But we didn't get a chance to. He was older, and I know it was hard to get to him, so we didn't get a chance to do a actual interview with him. But I sure did want to. So this is the next best thing, which is our memorial service here on Concrete Reality TV, Houston Hometown Heroes Edition. So let's go into it's a YouTube video that they had. One of the newscasts, they had put out a nice video on him. Let me go to it real quick. All right, so let's go to the video. Just want to play the video a little bit, and then it can give us a little background on who he was.
He stood next to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. fighting for civil rights in the 60s. More than half a century later, as thousands marched in Houston following the death of George Floyd, he was back out front again.
And sisters, you have no idea what a joy it is to see this.
Reverend William Lawson never had the loudest voice, but his courageous work and steady presence spoke volumes. He moved to Houston in 1955 with his wife Audrey as a Bible professor at Texas Southern University. Reverend Lawson led the Baptist Student Union for more than 10 years while helping students organize sit-in protests at Houston segregated lunch counters.
That any kind of contribution I may have made has been made because of the power of a population that was simply ready for integration and for Black leadership.
In 1962, the Lawsons founded Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church in 3rd Ward with just 13 members. Dr. King visited the church a year later and was so impressed with Lawson, he asked him to move to Atlanta to work with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference.
That was a massive honor, and I wanted very much to say yes, but I had this little church.
So he stayed in Houston, heading up the local branch of the SCLC while growing his family. Reverend Lawson was a pioneering force behind integrating Houston's public schools and registering thousands of Black voters.
He has helped to shape the foundation for inclusivity within our city.
And that little church would grow to become a Houston staple with thousands of members. In 2004, after 30 years, Reverend Lawson retired as Wheeler Avenue's pastor. His wife, Audrey, died in 2015. The Lawson's legacy lives on through the academy they created for Houston's inner city youth. The Grove at Rice University is also named in his honor. During the COVID pandemic, Reverend Lawson joined Mayor Turner to get a vaccine, as many people of color had been hesitant to get the shot. Reverend Lawson never stopped serving or setting the example, leaving an indelible mark on our city.
You're saying something I can't hear you.
Yep, that was Reverend Lawson. That historical article taught me a lot. I didn't know a lot about him, so I started the podcast just kind of talking about how we ended up at Wheeler, and when it was over in Little Chapel. So I was like, well, and what I remembered, most fun about him was he was always laid back. So
very much so.
I was like, man, this dude, even as a kid, I was like, when he spoke, it seemed like he carried a lot of meaning in his words, even though he wasn't a hooper and a hollerer.
Right.
So I kind of always thought about that.
Nah, he was far from that. He, compared to other pastors, that we saw on, visiting other churches and saw on TV growing up and stuff like that. He was more of a teacher than he was he wasn't about that. And God said, and Jesus said, and well, you got the organs in the background and people howling and screaming and this. And he was more of a speaker slash professor slash. Yeah, he was very educated. He was a teacher. He was
I guess that's what that might have just messed me up from the start, because I don't even like the hooping and hollering to this day. I guess he kind of spoiled me, because I'm like, man, all that ain't necessary, man. Just talk, just explain what you mean, and I can roll with that. But the other stuff, I guess, being at Wheeler and with him, you just I was like, I'm good, man. I'm good on the extra stuff.
Right, because Because when normally when pastors start the screaming and hollering, hooping and hollering, it's just really it's cultural based. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like they're doing anything different than other pastors have done. They're pretty much saying the same thing,
Yep.
quoting Bible verses while doing something that's familiar to the congregation.
Yep.
Instead of actually teaching the word, they're like, okay, let me do what people know, the old school way. Let
Yep.
me-
Yep. That's what I remember about him. He just to and before we, even move forward, remember guys, be sure to like and subscribe, hit those buttons on the bottom of the screen. Again, this is a Houston Hometown Heroes edition for the late great William A. Lawson. And this we didn't get a chance to interview him, but we wanted to, like I said, but this was the next best thing to interviewing him, is at least trying to remember his legacy.
right.
And we just wanted to come together and then open up the platform for any of you guys that want to log on to click on the link. You can log on by just phone, or you can do by video as well, but come on and then voice your experiences with William A. Lawson. What do you remember most about him? What was really memorable about him? And yeah, you're welcome to come on and do that. So we got Cutter on the screen now. He was getting his video set up, so we got him logged in. The
Yes,
co-host,
sir.
we got a couple other people that might be joining in as well from the panel. But for now, I guess we're just gonna kind of dig into a little bit of his history. The short documentary, talked about that a little bit, but I figure, hey, we jump on that too. So let me share the screen.
Okay.
Oh no, stop sharing. I'm gonna send that other link. Yeah, that one. So revisiting his history. It says William Lawson is, of course, he's passed away, but he was born in 1928, June 28th, 1928, in St. Louis, Missouri. And I always thought he was from Houston,
Me
but
too.
I was like, man, he's
Little
from
do you
Missouri.
know.
Exactly.
Little do you know.
Yep. So he was born to Walter and Clarice Lawson. He was raised in Kansas City, Kansas. It says Lawson attended Summer High School and graduated with his BA degree from Tennessee A&I State University in 1950. While at Central Baptist Theological Seminary, he married Audrey. So if you know anything about Reverend Lawson, you know about Audrey Lawson, the
Audrey
wife.
Lawson,
Mm-hmm.
first
Yep.
lady.
The first lady, yep, of Willard Avenue. She was, to me, I was Miss Lawson. She always was, I don't know, I couldn't tell if she was mean or nice. Did you ever talk to Miss Lawson?
No. I think she just told us to get back in church a couple of Sundays, but that was pretty much it. But we were kids, man. So I just saw her. She was a first lady, very
Mm-hmm.
joyful lady. Always smiling and greeting people, and always in that front row right there.
Yep.
And that was it. She talked to Mama more than she
Mm-hmm.
talked to anybody else. So I didn't really know her as a person. I just when you're a kid, you looking up at these people as like borderline celebrities because
True.
the church is so big. You know what I mean? And the only interaction I had when Reverend Lawson was when he used to like speak to us, when we were like at Boys Rites of Passage or a choir rehearsal or something like that, and he was walking in and out of the church. I think the one time that he actually treated us to lunch, I think it was Subway.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's when the Subway had first opened next door to the church.
Yeah.
And he had he had to do like some deposits, so he had, you know, his little I think it was a green Benz he used to drive or something like that.
Yep, he used to have that green Benz.
Yeah, and he had took, I think it was me, Brandon, might have been Benjamin or somebody. It was, I don't remember exactly who it was, but we took a little ride through Third Ward, and he was just talking to us about education and, you know, look, you know how a pastor would talk to his kids, the congregation, just telling us how important education was, and whoop, whoop, whoop. And then we went and ate lunch, and then we went back to the church, and you know that was it. But you know that was the only time that I remember him like being one on one, other than the times I would be playing the drums, practicing in church. And I used to wonder if he was irritated because he was come out the door, out of the side door right there, by the, you know, what the choir stand was back. I don't know if it's still like
Yeah,
that.
to
But
that
I used
office.
to, before, you know, choir rehearsal or whatever we were going to do, I would go in there and practice, because that was the only time I would be able to practice was on the drums. And he would come out the side door, and he would just be minding his business and go back in. He wouldn't bother me though. He would let me do my thing.
Yeah, that's what I was saying when I first started the live, that he was laid back. It seems like he was versatile. And then everything that he did, I guess his congregation kind of represented him, because I remember the music of the church was always versatile. They had classical music, they had spiritual music, and then he also had the gospel, the hardcore gospel.
Right.
And it seemed like he wanted to cater to a wide variety or audience. And I was like, man, but he never changed his style. He was still himself, but you can tell he cared about making sure that he had a little something for everybody at the church.
Right.
So that's what I always admired that.
And it's I'm glad you said that, because I used to think it was boring. I'm like, why are they singing this opera music? Like, because you know, you go to other churches, it'll be different. You know, especially Greater St. Matthews. You know, they church would be
they
rocking, and we'll be. And I'm like, and you can't wait for the actual selection, because that's when they would kind of turn up a little bit. But it was still a miniature turn up. It was never a turn up.
Yeah,
I didn't think we started turning up until we got the chapel choir.
Yep.
And we brought a whole different element, because we were trying to John P. Key that thing. And you know, in the Chicago Soul Children of Chicago, that thing, we was trying to turn up.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so we brought a different element, because we were the young people. We forget the older crowd, they were, you know, they were content with that, you know. And then I think I think the most gospel-y song they used to sing was Order My Steps.
Yeah, I remember that. Order My Steps.
Yeah. And it was still kind of, because you had who was the minister of music back then? Juanita Nash?
Yeah, it was Miss Nash.
Miss Nash. Yeah, she was still kind of contemporary. It wasn't gospel. So you still had to order my steps in your word.
They thought they was on point too.
Like, I'm telling you, I'm like, why don't y'all just get the order my steps? You know what I'm saying? I used to be trying to play drums with them. I'm like, this is I can't get jiggy with this.
Yeah, that was, they thought they was jamming, I guess. And then, you know, like you said, we were youth. We was like, we wanted to mimic Fred now, John, you know, Soul Children of Chicago. We wanted to be, you know, be everything. So
Winans and you know, everybody was, man, the big Mississippi Mass and all these, the stuff that we were hearing. And I'm like, why don't we turn up? You know, and like, that's one thing I used to question about Reverend Lawson, is Was he the gatekeeper of that?
I don't think I think because I remember he wanted to branch out a little bit, and then because I remember whenever somebody would start shouting, for example, our grandmother Helen Edwards,
Oh
she
yeah,
used to
she was
shout all the time.
notorious. She was
and,
in the
then
front too.
she's sitting in the front, and then she started shouting, getting the Holy Spirit, and then they escort out a little bit after she
Yep.
kind of turned up. And then Reverend Lawson, whenever it would happen, he would step to the pulpit, and then he was like, "Yes, yes, amen."
Yeah,
amen.
the calm, yeah, amen. the calm after the storm.
Yeah, the calmness after the storm. I was like, wow. But he was like, he made sure to reiterate, hey, it's nothing wrong with this. This
Yeah.
is how people worship. And then he kind of made it, okay. But you could
Yeah.
still tell the people in the congregation, they was like, we ain't supposed to be doing
Oh
all
yeah,
that. Calm that down.
not that bougie Willa. Not that bougie Willa. That's what the visitors used to call. Remember what we used to have our homeboys and the people from other churches there. Oh, y'all a little bougie over here.
Yep. I remember that too.
Y'all a
That's
little
funny.
bougie over here. Y'all don't get down like G. St. Matt.
Jesus,
And
man. We ain't like that at all.
Brentwood and
and Windsor Village.
Windsor Village, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, nah, we ain't child, but look, don't get it twisted. Nah,
Yep. Yeah, because we definitely started turning up, trying to basically, loosen everything up, which we did. We started, they let us kind of go wild a little bit.
Yeah, that's one thing I would definitely recognize about Reverend Lawson is the fact that he allowed the young people to be young people.
Yep.
And I think the only time, and I wish we had more people on here to note this.
Mm-hmm.
The only time we were reprimanded was when y'all, the older teenagers, was acting a donkey on the choir trips and the way out the youth retreats, and y'all was freaking retreats and doing all y'all little freaky stuff. Y'all was just some heathens, man.
I don't know. Hey, I don't know what you're talking about. I was not involved in that nonsense. That was, if Okira was on here, he ran and he was supposed to be here to talk about Reverend Lawson as well, but he wasn't able to make it. But Okira Robinson definitely was part of that crew.
Yeah, I bet he was. Curtis Frederick, where you at?
Oh yeah. Fred.
Yeah, man. I mean, at the end of the day, I just remember that one meeting that we had to have with Reverend Lawson. And he wasn't, remember, I think it was after we went to Atlanta and DC.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we had to get reprimanded.
I think I remember that because they got in trouble. I think they're supposed to be and we were supposed to be in our rooms the night before, and then they got caught not in their rooms.
Yeah. What you mean, they? We're not finna do this. Everybody was acting. Everybody was just acting up. We was teenagers. Hormones were raging. Of course, y'all were a little older than us, but we now that we're adults, it's 3-4 years apart, and teenage years are not the same as adult years. But back then, when you was 12 and 13 and you had 14, 15, 16 to 17-year-olds also in the youth choir and stuff like that, it was a big age gap. But now we can look back at it and like, oh man, we wasn't that much older. But back then it was, we was older than y'all. Yeah, it was a big gap. But long story short, everybody was just doing what the hell they wanted to do. And I do recall us having to have a meeting with Reverend Lawson about our behavior when we would go out of town and representing Wheeler Avenue.
Yeah.
At the church. We had to get a little talking to.
Doing the most, boy. doing the most.
Well, let's get back to go ahead.
No, I'll just go back to a little bit about his history, and then it's showing that he married Audrey, and then He then graduated in 1955 and received his Master of Theology and his Bachelor of Divinity degrees, majoring in New Testament interpretation while holding an appointment as a teaching fellow in homiletics. So from 1960 to 1970, Lawson served as the director of the Baptist Student Union and a professor of Bible at Texas Southern University. While at Texas Southern University, Lawson helped build the first Afro-American Studies program at the University of Houston and taught classes in sociology and the Black church. Now, that one I didn't know. I didn't know he did all that. So he was a first in a lot of things in the education, well, the upper education level. So it says his involvement with the civil rights movement began when 14 TSU students held a sit-in protesting segregation at a lunch counter. Interesting. So I know that he had a major impact in the integration of Houston. Because I know when they were trying to integrate the schools, they wanted to take it slow and they wanted to do a gradual integration. But Reverend Lawson, he was like, no, we ain't having it. We need it now. We doing it now. When do we want it now?
Right now.
Right now. And that's what I was like, wow. So he definitely, they talk about that on a Wikipedia page as well, where he basically headed up the I think the SLS what a Southern Leadership what is it, SLSC, the branch that was in Houston. He started that. So I was like, man, I think that's when Martin Luther King came down and helped him establish it.
Okay.
So
that's where the picture comes from.
Exactly.
Well, one of the pictures of them.
Yep, that's where that picture came from. So I'm going back there. So if you're going to so after founding the Willer Avenue Baptist Church, Lawson invited the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. to speak at his church in 1963. Lawson served as a pastor for over 30 years. In honor of his dedication to the community created a nonprofit organization called the William A. Lawson Institute for Peace and Prosperity. And through the organization, Lawson brought attention to the oldest African-American cemetery in Houston, helped create the Main Street Coalition, and founded the WALIPP Preparatory Academy for Boys. The academy was the first charter school created for boys grades 6 through 8 in the U.S. The institute also houses a seniors residence for independent living adults. So the man, that's just a little sample size of what he's done. And because I know you can't put everything on this page.
Of course not.
Yep. So speaking of that, speaking about him helping the youth, being a major impact in education in Houston, integration, we going back to the Boys' Rites of Passage program.
I knew it was coming. That's what actually, that's the first thing that I thought of, because you would think that was the first thing that he had done. But looking back, I'm really like, wow. So the idea was already there because he had already done it, but it's not in the way that we had done it. Well, not the way that we were included in the first Boys' Rites of Passage. It was new to us, but it wasn't new to him.
Yeah, he had been establishing all these educational foundations since he got into Houston.
Right.
So that was just another branch of that tree. And I was like, man, this dude here, Boys' Rites of Passage program, the one, basically this program that was started, I think, was that the 90s?
Yeah, it was the 90s.
Early 90s. And it was a program that was meant to try to help to set up young boys with a mentor, and then have these different courses that would teach us about the principles, some sort of fundamentals and principles of morality,
and principles
being
a man, Black man especially.
Exactly. So they had a lot of different courses that were in there. We had exercise and fitness, We had
Hmm.
history. Of course, we
Yep.
had Bible study, and then we were assigned a mentor. Mine was Brian Smith. Who was yours, Cutter?
Bill Solomon, rest in peace.
Biff.
Bill
I didn't know
Solomon.
he passed away.
Yeah, he passed away. He passed away
Oh, okay.
a few years ago.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Bill Solomon. Wow. Because yeah, Bill. I remember when you got your mentor, Mr. Solomon. He visited you a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, we kicked it for some time. Um it wasn't I think I was a little too hard headed. You know what I mean? Though we finished Boys Rites of Passage, I wasn't too keen on, we didn't really have much in common. I was into music.
Hmm.
And I think Bill was a lawyer. Um and it was we had a little bit in common, but not too much. So he did teach me a few things.
Hmm.
Um but it was like I said, being into music was that's when I was heavy into it.
Yeah, I
So it
remember
was
that.
like, okay, outside of anything like that, like I ain't really interested. Like, this cool, you teaching me a few things here and there about finance and woo woo woo, but all that stuff was, we were teenagers, so it's like,
Yeah,
okay, in one ear, out the other. If you ain't talking about nothing musical, like, I'm like, okay,
yeah,
cool.
you wasn't really feeling it.
Nah, it
Yeah,
wasn't really feeling it. So,
I,
but he was a cool guy, man. I like Bill. He was a cool guy.
yeah. Mine was Brian Smith. He was
Brian
definitely
Smith.
more active. Oh, Brian, he
Yeah.
definitely was everywhere. He was pretty much he was in my
Brian
ear with
still
every.
look like himself.
Yeah, he
Brian,
he ain't aged a
he's
bit.
he ain't aged not one bit. I looked at his Facebook the other day. I was like, Brian Smith, what? I was like, he
Still,
still looked like he was when I was 16 years
yeah.
old, man. Come
He
on.
probably look even better now because I be looking at
Yeah.
him. He got a little hat done up and all that stuff. I think he got twists and stuff.
Yeah,
So
man.
I was like, yeah, he was always that dude, positive impact, always there. He had invested in me going to Africa,
Yeah.
because Reverend Lawson, Willow Avenue, they also were outgoing with the trying to get youth to experience the world, trying to get you experience with the world. That's what their biggest thing was. It was I guess they wanted you to dream big. It wasn't like these small limitations on what you were trying to accomplish at Willer. It seemed like everybody had these extravagant goals.
Right.
And that was one of them. The Africa trip, they had sent a group of us to Africa for this conference. I think it was some sort of World Baptist Youth Convention. And I know the church invested money into the trip, and then you had to come up with the rest of it. And then my mentor Brian Smith, he invested in that. So
Yeah, that was
I always
dope.
admire that. Yeah, because who can say, man, your church sent you to Africa?
A lot of people don't get to go there
No,
unless
man,
you
people don't ever get to go there.
unless you was a Huxtable. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You got money like that.
You got the money like that. But
Man.
yeah, man, I admire Will. I admire Reverend Lawson and everything that he's done, everything he's brought forth. Because a lot of people that experience Willa now, um, they don't know the history behind how the church was started, and all they know is Reverend Crosby. And shout out to Reverend Crosby because he's doing his
Yeah,
thing.
definitely. Yeah.
He's definitely doing his thing.
Extended that legacy.
He extended it big time, big time. I remember I was there when he took over,
Hmm.
um, and when Pastor Lawson handed him the torch, it was like, I believe in this young pastor, and he
Hmm.
took it to the next level. He took it to
Yep.
the next level. So
Yeah,
yeah,
they even be jamming even harder now. It's like
even harder.
because Crosby, he the total opposite
Yeah,
of Reverend Lawson.
yeah.
Crosby loud, shouting, and all that. He's definitely that pastor, that more
Hmm.
traditional pastor. So I think he brought in a lot more youth, because I think a lot
Yeah,
of youth took to him. I
yeah.
was like, man, when we go home next time, I was trying to get get there because I know they got the new church now.
Yeah, they have a new church now.
Yep.
Another new church. The
Oh
new
yeah,
church
I'm
after
sorry.
the new
Another new
church.
church. So yeah, they done came up big time.
Yep.
So yeah, they're supposed to be doing, I think, a memorial service for Reverend Lawson, I think on next Thursday. So I'm sure they're gonna have that on live stream on the Willer page. So y'all can check that out too. But we just wanted to kind of, touch on his legacy. And yeah, we really appreciate, as far as me, I definitely appreciate Reverend Lawson, and he's definitely had a positive impact on my life. I was
Likewise.
honored to definitely have an experience with him like that. He helped me to, become the man that I am now. You got any last words, Cutter?
I mean, I said all I needed to say. Yeah, he was definitely impactful on a lot of the youth, including myself. Um, I was just happy to be a part of that generation at Wheeler, because we learned so much. And somebody late. It's
Oh,
finally
K.
K.
Fred.
we about to, of course he's gonna come now.
What
K.
up, K.
Frederick.
Fred?
Hey, what's going on, gentlemen? Pardon me.
You good?
I'm just finishing up, man. I'm loving this. Beautiful. My man, Reverend Lawson.
Reverend
Yes,
Lawson,
sir.
man. Yeah, we've been discussing his legacy. And K. Fred, we wanted to bring Curtis Fredericks on. He's another brother from the Willer Avenue crowd. And then he's got some history on Reverend Lawson, too, because Reverend Lawson is from Missouri and K. Fred is from Missouri. I said, man, we got to get him on here.
Yeah. He was right across the river over in KCK.
Wow.
Kansas City, Kansas. And if I'm not mistaken, that's kind of where he started.
Yep.
Right
Kansas
there.
City, Kansas. And we were both shocked because I was like, I always thought he was from Houston. Turned out, no, he from Missouri. I say, oh, he from the show me state.
Yeah, had the blessing, man, of getting him on both sides.
So when y'all moved, you and your family moved to Houston, were y'all already planning to go to Willer where Reverend Lawson was, or was that a coincidence?
That was a coincidence.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Huh. I thought that was planned.
No, not at all. Not at all. Which I would say this. That's one of the things I think I'm happiest for, is that my parents chose Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church.
Wheeler.
So I think, as you know, Ephraim and Chris, we was there on Monday, for way out meetings. We was there. Me and O'Kara did a Bible study on Wednesday.
Yep.
Thursday for choir practice.
Man.
Yeah.
And then Saturday for rites of passage.
Rites of
passage. We just
got through talking about that.
Yep. But all of that.
Sunday church, you better hope that your mama ain't singing, because you might have to stay for more than one service.
Yeah, I used to hate that. Be like, man, we got to sing in the morning and we got to stay for the afternoon service. I'm like, oh, man.
But that's one thing I think that I can always respect about Reverend Lawson was he was always dedicated to the kids. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
Even to later on. But I know for us, we always had his support. And you don't find that often. But I think he understood and believed in that next generation that was coming up. And he wasn't just a pastor, a man that preached. I mean, he was a man that you could see from his actions, he lived God's word. So,
man,
much respect always to Reverend Lawson.
Yeah, you said a mouthful with that, because you didn't catch him in those scandals. We ain't hear nothing about no Reverend Lawson, in any of that extra drama stuff that a lot of pastors get caught in. He like you said, he practiced what he preached.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that dude there, most people say they ain't even heard him curse. I was like,
yeah, man. Yeah. There was some large shoes to fill, when he stepped down. You know what I mean? But loving that he always kept his work within the community. And when you look at that third ward area over there, from what it looks like now to what it looked like back then, you know what I'm saying?
It was totally different.
Totally different. And I do believe when I was riding over there just a couple months ago, you can see there's a little center that he's got that I guess he created for some of the youth over there, right there on Scott Street.
Yeah, that's the one.
They got the gym and all that stuff.
Yeah,
that was after we left. We didn't get to experience that, but I think our the younger generation after us, they got to experience all that. Get to go.
Yeah. Hey, we laid the groundwork. You know what I'm saying?
We laid the groundwork.
hey. But on another level, though, how many pastors do you know at that time period that were supporting, the role of young Black men? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Literally showing them something outside of a stereotype and then promoting the cultural aspect of who we are as a people. Y'all went to Africa.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Right? So, I mean, how many pastors were promoting, international travel back to the motherland? Find your roots as young men.
You
know what I mean? That in itself is astounding. But
that's
that
what
was
we're talking about.
Yeah, that's his vision. You know what I mean? And that was the vision I think that he carried, with us, and then moving forward with, like you said, that younger generation, man. Much respect always, much love.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that major impact, because we were talking about, reading his biography, and it was like he had already been involved in the civil rights movement, of course, trying to establish integration inside of, Houston, and then the educational system as well. And we were talking about how the city wanted to move slow. They want to take their time. We're going to gradually integrate y'all into this mixed education system. And then Reverend Lawson was like, nah, we're not having that. We going fast. We want it now. We ain't waiting. Give it to us now. We going with that. And that's what he was promoting.
Right.
And I was like, man, this dude, he kind of had his vision already set and he wasn't afraid. So, and if he was, he still stepped out on faith and his confidence still was there. And I guess that's just him. Because when you look at Reverend Lawson, he's quiet, but at the same time, it's some sort of integrity factor that's there, where he don't speak loud, he don't scream and yell, but yet he mean business. And I always thought that was admirable.
Right.
Yeah. So but yeah, Reverend Lawson, man, the that whole foundation of young men and the Boys' Rites of Passage program that he the church started. And I was like, man, you got mentors, that are giving their time to try to help young men become, proper young men that can be productive in the world. And I mean, how many churches do that? I mean, it's like this dude.
Right.
So I thought that was impressive.
Yeah, and Fred, I don't know if you knew, but he had already established something like Boys' Rites of Passage before Boys' Rites of Passage. That was in his history. So it was no coincidence that it was developed during the time that we were there. I was just happy to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Happy to be a part of it because it was something different, and of course we didn't realize what we were involved in until we were involved in it, and it snowballed into other generations being a part of it as well. But I used to love to brag on the fact that my little cousins were like, "Yo, we was in Boys' Rites Special." I was like, "Look, we started it.
we were
the first. We were the first. Stop playing. We were the first graduates of the program. So we gonna kill that noise."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We the OGs.
Hey, Fred, did you ever have any conversations with Reverend Lawson?
Not particularly. No.
Yep. Me neither. I didn't get a chance. I don't remember. I'm sure we said, I always, you see him and say hi and bye and all that, but any meaningful conversations, I don't think I had any. What about you, Cutter?
Nah, I told you earlier, the only interactions that we had where, you know, that one time when he took me and a couple of other young men, just, you know, just for a ride. I think we had go to, you know what? It was a bank, a black-owned bank in Third Ward. I don't know if it's still there, but I forget what it was called. But he took us over there, and he showed us that it was black-owned bank. And you know, and that was one of the rides that he took us on, and that's when we went and ate lunch, and we just had a little small conversation, but that was it. And that was spontaneous. He just, you know, and today, I don't know if you could do that, but it was spontaneous. We was just on church grounds, and he was like, what are you young men doing right now? And we was like, I forget, we was leaving either choir rehearsal. It was a Saturday. So I don't know if it was something going on at the church, and we just took a ride with him. And, you know, he showed us the bank that was black owned in Third Ward, showing us the little some historical points in Third Ward, and we came back to the church and went next door to Subway and ate lunch, and then that was it. Other than that, and like I was telling you earlier, other than me just going to practice on the drums, he never, you know, tripped on me playing drums because it was loud. You know, this is before drums was behind fiberglass and whatnot. So I used to go in there and rehearse and practice, and he would come out the side door sometimes, and that would be it. But other than that, I never had any one-on-one interaction. Because, you know, like I said, we were kids. I was a kid, man. I was like 13, 14 years old. So,
yeah.
It wasn't too much that he could say, but hey, young man, how you doing? Shake hands, and that's it. You know, I'm pretty sure he had other things going on.
Definitely. I remember with him in church services, you know, because like he was always laid back. But I remember the thing that I liked the most, of course, being a youngster, is whenever we would have some sort of hype song and everybody started getting out of Willer's normal characteristics, which is usually laid back. So if they turn up, start shouting and stuff, Pastor Lawson would get up, and then it'd be like maybe you know, church usually let out about 1, maybe a little earlier. If it get too hype, he'll get up and be, you know, amen, yes.
He'll calm it down.
Yeah, so I don't have much to say. He said, I don't have much to say. God's already spoken. I'd be like, that's it. That's open up the doors of the church. I'm like,
Open
that's
up
it.
the doors of the church.
Man, we finna get out of church early because he'd be quick to do that. He wouldn't even do no long sermon. It'd be 5 minutes.
I used to love that, boy. I used to love them days, boy, when he would give them little short sermons and
5-10 minutes.
Get out. Oh man, it's going down. We going to Frenchies.
Exactly.
We're going to Frenchies. Like acting like we ain't already been half the service.
Yeah, because we used to sneak out in the middle of service or right before they start service, and then go to Frenchies, and then come back in
2-piece and a biscuit.
Yeah, well, we'll get a large. Everybody pitch in and get a large fry.
And get a large fry.
And then we go back to the multimedia room that was on the second floor, and we'd be in there while church was going on, and we'd be eating donuts and French fries.
Until old Lou come and kick everybody out.
Yep, until old Lou. We had the sermon on the speaker so we can hear what's going on, and then we got we got the door watches because it's 2 ways inside of that multicultural room, and we had one person on one side, another dude on the other side, and they be watching out. And then if somebody coming, hey, somebody coming, and then we go out one door, when they come out, and then when they come in the other one, we be running out the other door. And usually it's old Lou. Old Lou is a minister there at the church. But
rest in peace, old Lou.
Yeah, passed away as well. But old Lou Chapman, I mean, that dude was great too. But
yeah, he was another great one, man. Another great one. Taught us a lot. He was more hands-on with the youth than anybody. Rest in peace, old Lou.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, Fred, did you have a mentor when you got to the Boys' Rites of Passage?
Oh man, yeah. My brother, my mentor was Brother Takumo Opioyero.
What?
Okay.
Yeah,
I
Brother
never.
Yero, brother. Yeah,
I ain't know
yeah.
that.
That brother wore dashikis.
Oh, I know who you talking
Real
about.
big brother. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh man.
he gave me one of my. I used to read a lot of either way, but he gave me one of my first books by Dr. Ben Jocannon, Black Man of the Nile and His Family. That book's almost 500-600 pages, man.
Man.
Yeah. Yeah, he taught me a lot about African history, African civilizations. He was a great mentor. He schooled me on Kwanzaa. Man, the Ankh. I mean, he even took it. Christianity, but he also was the one that turned me on to like the Egyptian Book of the Dead, things like that. Yeah, I had a
Oh
great
wow.
mentor.
Oh, he's versatile.
Yeah, I had a great mentor.
Well versed. Yeah, that's cool, man. Because I think that goes back to again Willard and then now William Lawson. He wasn't afraid to be versatile. He
Yeah,
had. We talked about the music. We talked about how he had. It was gospel. It was classical. It was spiritual. He had dance, African dance. You had the miming, and then of course the Boys Rites of Passage program. And then of course that the whole connection to African history. A lot of people weren't doing that. A lot of
yeah,
churches wasn't doing what he was doing. How many people talk about Kwanzaa at church? Kwanzaa?
yeah.
What you talking about?
Wanda. Yeah.
Willa
Mm.
doing Kwanzaa. I'm like, what?
Oh, you tripping. Remember the bells? The people that did the
Oh yeah,
bells
they
and
used to
stuff?
do bells too.
Yeah, man. They had all that. Yeah.
Well, of course, we didn't get
Karate.
it. Yeah, the martial arts.
Yeah, martial arts. We had
Mhm.
martial arts. We had Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts.
Yeah, they
So I was
kept.
supposed the Boy Scouts was big at Willard.
They
Yeah,
still are.
they still are. Yeah.
Yep, major man. The dude, he like K. Fred, you mentioned that youth thing. It seemed like he was really vested in youth. He understood that you
Yeah,
had to have youth
You had
to
to have the
keep
young
carrying
people.
out, the traditions. And
yeah.
so that's what they doing now. They got man, that church is big.
I might want to join Willard. We join Willard because I haven't been to. I don't know the last time I've been to Wheeler.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the actual church was when Mary passed. That was the actual time I had been to the church, and they were still doing construction
Yeah, on that new church was still
on the
getting
new
built.
church. Yeah, but yeah, it's been a minute, man. It's been a minute, but
Yeah, I was
like
just
I
down there
said,
in November.
Did you go to the church house?
Man, I rode through, and
Okay.
first off, I was like, man, hold on. First off,
not
what
the
happened to
same.
Frenchies? Right,
Oh, they took that. He's
French is
like, what?
right,
gone.
right.
They done moved that
Ain't no
down the
more
street, huh?
Frenches.
So then I was like, oh, okay, they down the street. They right
Yeah,
across from U of H now.
yeah.
But I love the new building. New building is gorgeous.
Man,
But and then the other part, even the old building was pretty big.
yeah, that
You
one's
know what I
Right.
mean?
still big too. So they got that one, and they got the new one.
Yeah, yeah, right across from it. Takes up that whole corner.
That's crazy, man. They
Yeah.
built that whole thing. They took over that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? What's crazy is they started off with the little green church,
Yep, the little
and
Yep,
chapel.
then they
off to the
bought the
side.
land. They bought the land behind that. Remember, they used to have a tent while they was building
Yep, we used to have church under the tent.
under the tent, and then the main sanctuary got built, and we used to have children's church in the chapel.
In the
That's what
chapel.
they call the chapel. And then we would have children's church there, and then they would have not Bible study. Uh, oh man, what was it
What, way
called
out?
before you go to church? No, it was the
Oh,
youth
new
church they had the children's church, and they had uh
orientation or something like that. Or
no before you go to the actual church service. What was it?
On the
Sunday
Sunday
school.
school.
Yeah,
Sunday
Sunday
school.
school. So you had a whole man. It was crazy. You had the Sunday school. I remember in the little greenhouse. That's where the teenagers were.
Yeah,
The upstairs, downstairs. I forget what that was. I think it
I
was a
remember that.
nursery. It was actually a nursery during the week. I forgot about that. And then, on Sundays we would have that. But then you had the main sanctuary where everybody was, during actual church service. So it
Yep.
was a lot going on Sundays on a little small corner.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot going on. And then you
Yeah.
had the multi-purpose room where we used to have the way out parties, the New Year's Eve parties.
Yep. Watch night.
Watch night. Oh man, watch night.
Yeah, we know K. Fred.
What? What'd I do?
I'm just
He was
saying.
one of the heathens.
we had talked about them sending us on choir trips. Who goes on choir trips? Willa sent their choir on a tour. Tour. This man invested money into a tour, turned it into a college tour where we ended up getting a chance to go to these different HBCUs.
Spelman and Morehouse and Howard. Yeah, I remember that. Yep. Oh man. Bro, we was fortunate, bro. We was, man. Shout out to Reverend Lawson. Shout out to Reverend Lawson, man. This is bringing back some memories.
Yep.
And it just so happened to be Throwback Thursday. This is crazy.
Yep. Much respect, man. That dude's legacy is very, very big, and it's well appreciated throughout the country, not just Houston. This dude, they got articles on him on CNN. I'm like, this dude, they knew this dude in Houston. They call him Houston's pastor. I was like, really?
Wow.
I didn't know that. Yeah, so they call him Houston's pastor. So, but yeah, we just wanted to kind of open up the platform and do a memorable episode. Since we didn't get a chance to interview him on Houston Hometown Heroes directly, we at least wanted to do it indirectly in this memorial service. So we appreciate Reverend Lawson. He is definitely remembered. Any closing words for either one of you guys?
Man, I said everything I needed to say. Rest in peace, Reverend Lawson. He's a major figure in my life and in many other now adults, but back then you had major impact on everyone. So
definitely,
I'm just grateful to have an opportunity to have known and have studied under him.
Yeah,
as
definitely.
a past. So that's my 2 cents. Okay, Fred.
Nah, I think you said it all right there, man. It's more so a blessing than anything, Sometimes when you go through things, you don't understand the impact that being in a situation will give you in your life. To come under that tutelage, that just wasn't him, but it extended to all the other people underneath him, like you said, Olu Chapman, Reverend Jenny Moore, you know what I mean? So many great people that took us underneath their wing. And I remember I had one of the men in the church gave me my first French cuff shirt, when I was 16, and taught me about cufflinks and that type of tutelage only comes under a great man. Definitely. So I'm very blessed. I'm very grateful that that's a part of my life. You know what I mean? Because I think it culminated the man that's sitting here today. You know what I mean? And so I'm grateful for that time in my life very much. And without him, probably would never be. So
yeah,
always, man, much respect and much love to Reverend Lawson.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Well, Reverend Lawson, rest in peace. We're grateful, and we out.
That's it.